And before you know, you have taken over. So I round up by talking about what I call the off-takers concept. The off-takers concept talks about the fact that anytime you want to go into any form of business, especially agribusiness, you must first of all identify the market. Okay? Identify the off-taker, the people that are going to buy from you. Okay? And we have identified some big off-takers in Nigeria. On the supermarket side, we have Spar, we have ShopRite. On the beverage company side, we have Nestle, Bonvita. On the brewery side, we have Nigerian Breweries Limited, Guinness, Flour Mills, we have the Honeywell. Okay? Then on the international side, Olam and Wakot are two Indian companies that have been in Nigeria for a very long time, and I tell you that they are doing very well. Feed Mill, Oil Mill, okay, we have Okomu Oil, Presco, and Grand Cereal. And the successful agribusiness in Nigeria, of course, there's no way you mention Nigeria without talking about Dangote. Dangote is there, Olam is there, Wakot, Stallion, and Songhai. So, as a way of rounding up, we try to look at the successful agribusiness also in Canada, and we look at BSAF, we look at Corteva Agri-Science, Nutrien, Agri-Trace, Farmer's Edge. Then, of course, I will tell you that CropLife Canada is already operating very big in Nigeria. So on this note, I want to say thank you for listening. We are available for that handshake, whether you are government or you are private individual. Thank you and God bless.
Well, the ovation is already loud, or too loud, I would say. But you can still double it up. Give it up to him. Okay, you can see the advantage of having this kind of conference. I see people who left Nigeria altogether, but they are getting their cards from each other here in Canada. Do you see that? Well, no problem. The platform is already provided for you. Very quickly, let's bring the four of them that have spoken. May I request you to please rise and come up? I'm talking of having with us Abigail Sobin and Mr. Prashat and Mr. Sunday Godfrey and, of course, Mr. Schroeder. Direct your question to any of them. Your question must not be more than 30 seconds in asking. So don't go over it again, telling us all the story. Just go straight to what you want them to point out for you. And I'm just going to limit your answer to 1 minute so that you can take as many as possible. All right? This is our first attempt today. So who is going to throw the first blow? I take you, Honorable Terab. I want all the hands up. Oh, sorry, I have to withdraw that. We have the distinguished senator of the Federal Republic in Nigeria, a 2-term senator, still running. We can't joke with it. It's a great honor to have you, sir. We have Sir Victor C. Ume. Give it again to him. He was here with the governor yesterday and is here again today. He was one of the earlier people to be here. So, microphone to go round. But distinguished, just before you speak, I'm going to identify 5 people that want to speak in the first session. I can see you 1. Somehow they are all Nigerians, so I'm just going to limit to 2 Nigerians. So, okay, 3.
I am not a Nigerian.
1.
He's a Canadian. I'm a Canadian now.
I decide who is a Nigerian. I'll take distinguished, I'll take honorable, then I'll take Japol, and then I will consider you later. So from the Canadian side, you have 2 slots. If you don't indicate, I will indicate for you. Yes, I take you. Yeah. The moment that you said is you, that means you. All right? What about you? Any question? No, right there. Yes. Yeah, I saw your hand moving. Yes. Okay, so one there. And the gentleman beside Mrs. Adewale, is that right? No, you. Okay. Oh, lovely. We will consider you later. But for now, we have the senator, we have Honorable Tarab, and then we have Mr. Jegede, and we shall go for the lead. Yes, we shall go for you, and we shall go for you. Okay, so.
Thank you, Ambassador Bolaji.
Thank you, sir.
For this session. I want to commend the various presenters, but I was privileged to witness presentations by Mr. Schroeder for the education sector, and then our brother for the agribusiness. So because I didn't listen to Abigail and the other gentleman, I will focus on the two that I listened to. Mr. Schroeder, thank you very much. You've made a very elaborate presentation on the structure of education in Nigeria. We're able to identify the various weaknesses, the challenges that there exist in our educational sector in Nigeria. Having x-rayed all these things in your presentation, I would like to ask you just one or two questions. The first one is on the participation of the Canadian businesses and government in improving the quality of education in Nigeria, because a place you identify that there's a growing and significant demand for quality education. Is there anything you are consciously doing to be able to partner with Nigeria in driving this process to bring quality education to the doorsteps of Nigerians? I say this because I know that you have Canadian preparatory schools in Nigeria, from where you take students to come to Canada to study in your tertiary institutions. And I know that we have public and private institutions in Nigeria. Are you doing anything to fortify this sector, particularly in the area of technical education, which you identified? That is an area we have a teeming population of Nigerians who can be useful if they acquire technical education. The number two is on the area of education and knowledge transfer. Canada, as an advanced country, have very improved education models. And sometimes, because of the demand for quality education, a lot of children and parents send their wards to Canada to study. I've not seen anything you are doing in trying to make this education affordable to the Nigerian students. Here in Canada, students from Nigeria that are here pay as high as 54,000 Canadian dollars per academic session. If you convert it to the prevailing exchange rate in Nigeria, a Nigerian parent will be spending close to 85 to 100 million naira in 1 year to be able to keep his or her child in Canada. Is there anything you can do to help us in that regard? You spoke about scholarships and all that, but we have seen that from experience is still a far cry. That is number one for you. Then I can ask questions to everybody now. So I ask my brother in my color, the black man, who did a very great job in presenting the agri opportunities in Nigeria. And from the crop mapping zones, which you showed here, you highlighted here, I want to assume that you live in Canada, or did you come from Nigeria? if you live in Canada, how are you making these great business opportunities in the agri sector available to the Canadian nationals and our people in the diaspora community here? Because their presentation is also very elaborate. We have 82 million hectares of land to be cultivated. Presently, only 32 million are in use. We still have 50 million hectares to cultivate. And the only way you can make use of that is through mechanized farming. You also pointed it out. So how are you driving this dream so that mechanized farming here can be practiced in Nigeria by bringing people across? Then the agro-processing businesses, the value chain, is a very, very, very important business in Nigeria. And we have not started, actually. So how are you doing your best, apart from this presentation to this small gathering, to show that Nigeria is a huge market for all these services? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, distinguished. I'm going to change the rule a little. We had said 30 seconds, but from distinguished experience, 30 seconds will be too small. So we're adjusting to 45 seconds for your question. So make sure you use 45 seconds. And we're going to ask all the 5 questions together for that round, and then they will take it. So over to you, Honorable. Please.
Excellency. Thank you very much. Of course, very elaborate presentations. My first question is to Mr. Schroeder. I want to understand if your presentation was seeking partnership, collaboration, or it was just to provide more information and knowledge about the educational system in Nigeria. But most importantly, you've made mention of the Plateau State University and, of course, its desire to, its need to have funding. So I want to ask, is there, from your own arrangements, are there any arrangements or efforts to attract foreign funding or investment to support that university? Because I know of similar other universities across the states that are facing similar challenges, and of course, I believe your answer in this respect would be very helpful. The next is to Dr. Godfrey Ajayi. Based on what you have presented, maybe I'm seeing it from the perspective of individual interests coming together to develop the agricultural sector. Can there be a dedicated investment fund with established structures such that, especially because I'm speaking from the part of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission here, such that the diaspora and maybe other investors can invest in the project through a unified platform? Because what I'm asking for is that people can still remain where they are, but they can invest some equity, and then you can now go ahead through established structures to expand the agricultural system in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
That was a very good example, okay? You kept to time. Yeah.
Okay, my question goes to Dr. Ajayi. I just want to find out, there are a lot of Nigerians producing. Dr. Ajayi, are you with me? Are you with me? Question to you. Okay.
You are going to exam without all right. Okay. You can give them as many as possible.
Okay.
This is the factory, sell it to them.
Okay.
When you need more sheet, you let us know.
Extra sheets. There are a lot of Nigerians producing yam.
30 seconds, don't even time.
Producing yam, but they cannot export. And there are cases where they produce and export, and we were told that they got rejected, either in here in Canada and even in America. So, your firm, do you guide these people? How do you help them for them to export this to Canada? Because issue of quality, packaging, preservations, it's quite an issue, for Nigerians to export their produce, the agricultural produce. That's one. Two, in all your presentation, you did not mention rubber. There are a lot of rubber in those states, South. And is it that there is no market for rubber in Canada or in America? That's it.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, let's take Mr. Bada from Brampton.
Perfect timing. Thoroughly enjoyed the presentation. So my question to Schroeder, a lot of what you provided pretty much is what we in Rotary world expect to receive in terms of needs analysis from local Rotarians in Nigeria or elsewhere. Any experience in your case working with Rotary in Nigeria and Rotary here in terms of facilitating some of the work that you're doing? And I'm also a past chair for Brampton Board of Trade, the local chamber in Brampton, so I would be remiss not to ask from the panelists' perspective collectively, what kind of interaction do you foresee between chambers in Nigeria and Canadian regional chambers represented by Ontario Chamber of Commerce Network or Canadian Chamber of Commerce Network? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Bill?
Thank you. So my question is directed toward the agriculture sector. We manufacture irrigation equipment, large and small, for ag and sports fields. We're in contact with two different groups out of Nigeria. We've been negotiating for 7 or 8 months on getting equipment, not just irrigation equipment, but equipment in general, tractors and all implements that would come out of Canada, Europe, South America. We are kind of consolidators for all of that. My wife and I run a separate company where we find the technology people needed in your country and try to supply it. We have a Nigerian group confirming tomorrow that want to come here and they want to look at irrigation equipment, general agriculture equipment, and fishing vessels. So we should have them here for about 2 weeks. So, and my question to you is, do you know of any grants or government, are they totally supporting agriculture, or what kind of grants can be had there? And what are the people that we're dealing with, would they be aware of that, I wonder? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, the last speaker.
Right in the back.
Not you, actually. Since your hand is so far, very quickly.
Thank you so much. My name is George Chukwu. You just, one of the last speakers mentioned that Nigeria is the greatest producer of shea butter. As a matter of fact, I have one right here as a sample. And my question is, this shea butter that we use locally, when it's brought here organically, most of the time it doesn't smell that pleasant. So what innovative methods and techniques can we implement to improve the natural aroma of shea butter, making it more appealing and versatile for diverse consumers' preferences? If you go to Ghana, like what we said before, Ghana produces a lot of these things. But some of these products, when they come here in their natural form, many outside users do not know how to use it. Is there anything that we are doing in Nigeria when we're exporting all these goods here to make it more appealing, to versatile users, especially women, because they love shea butter, but when it comes smelling that way, many of them might not know how to use it? Thank you.
COVID is one of those things that's really driven that opportunity home around doing virtual or remote learning. My son has been living in Nigeria for 7 years. He did his undergraduate degree with a university in the U.S., all online, all virtually, and got a degree from a certified university. So that's, again, a big opportunity around affordability. As far as, what was the next question here? I can't read my own writing. I think as far as initiatives, government initiatives to help with that, I'm not sure I see a lot from the Canadian government around that. Canadian government, my experience has been they like to support more tangible goods. So if it's something that you can touch and feel, that's something that they tend to support more than as opposed to intangibles. They, in the past, I mean, a decade ago, they even looked at healthcare because we have a lot of healthcare knowledge and talent which could be exported, but it's not ever really taken off as a big initiative by Canadian government. And even some of the export insurance programs really are geared more for tangible products as opposed to intangibles. Where I'm seeing activities is just the general initiatives around colleges and universities. I mentioned Mohawk College. They're always, because they have the product available, it doesn't take much to scale it and to multiply it. So they're always looking for greater opportunities, greater markets to generate revenues clearly for themselves. But also private individuals like the fellow that I mentioned from Western Canada. He was a skilled tradesperson who had a lot of business and capability and whatnot, and decided to open these trade schools in Nigeria, again bringing in local partners to do that. A lot of it depends upon how risk-friendly or how risk-averse you are, and clearly, a lot of times private sector is a little bit more risk-friendly than, say, something that's more public sector. As far as Rotary is concerned, no, I haven't had any experience with Rotary. That said, there are a lot of charitable organizations in Nigeria supporting that type of thing. So House of Peace Ministries was one of them that was sponsored by a charitable organization. There's a fellow that is with Partners Worldwide. Actually, I've been kind of coaching him for like 2.5 years. He's responsible for all of West Africa, now all of Africa, and their whole thrust is around helping people out of poverty. And one of those things, they support education as well, and they support local schools, and in fact visited one of those schools that's provided financing to local schools to provide the elementary level of education.
Okay. Thank you. You want to reframe your question? Okay, I now answer your question. Okay.
There's another. Did I miss something? Yeah, so the short answer is it was really more for information. I don't have a particular investment opportunity that I'm looking for. It was really more of an educational, broad education. I can talk, if there's a particular area of interest, then I may have people that I can put you in touch with, or I know people who know people.
What about the Plateau State?
Say again?
The funding for Plateau State University.
Sorry, I'm not understanding the question.
Plateau State University.
Oh, Plateau State?
University, yeah.
Yes.
You talked about their funding challenges.
Yes.
And I was saying, are there opportunities for them to get international funding or investment?
So Plateau State is funded by government, right? So I think that's still the model that they're pursuing. I'm not sure that they're really looking for private investment because it's a public university. It's not a private university. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be speaking to the agribusiness questions. Senator may ask the first question: how can we get this thing, value chain and agribusiness to the rest part of the world? Okay, so when you said, maybe I'm based here in Canada, no, I just came in. Yes, I just came in, and I had my PhD in agribusiness in University of Abuja, and I got invitation to come and speak. This is the third forum I will be speaking since I came. And there is a need for us to partner to be able to sell the agribusiness to the world. And I'm available to work with you. And my sister just came in here with the Diaspora Commission. Quite a number of people across the world. Like I mentioned, food is very important. They want to invest in the food sector, but they don't know how. So, and my brother talked about the fact that can we have an investment fund, which is very, very critical. We can make it like a PPP, get the funds together to be able to drive down to Nigeria to be able to do the real thing. Because today, food is very, very important. It's very, very essential. If we're able to feed our people well, I would assure you that half of our problem will be solved. Tomorrow evening, I saw a notice that the governor will be having a side session in Amin Restaurant. I was with owner of Amin Restaurant yesterday, and he told me that there are about 30 Nigerian restaurants in Canada here. So something came to my mind. Supposing that they all bear Nigerian restaurants. Okay? So 30 bearing the individual name, if they all bear one name, Nigerian restaurants, and they are able to get support from the government, we'll be creating employment. We'll be selling Nigeria in a subtle way to the world. There was a restaurant I was at yesterday at Ottawa, and I discovered that a lot of other nationals were coming to get Nigerian foods. Like I mentioned, Gary and granite is still the fastest food in the world. But we are not selling it to the world. There's a need for us to have a think tank to be able to put all these things in a business model and begin to roll out. So, Senator, I'm available to work with you on that project. So somebody talked about yam exports, Nigerian yam exports. Okay, so I also asked some questions yesterday. I'm told that the majority of the yam being sold in this country are from Ghana. And there is no way Ghana can compete with Nigeria in terms of yam production. For those of you who live in Abuja, you know that when you came in from Lagos, yam was one of those commodities that people wanted to buy because it was cheap. Okay? If you go to a place like Vandekia, Benue State, Nigeria, you will see a heap of yam as tall as this hotel in Vandekia, Benue State. One of the ministers, then Minister Audogbe, tried to export yam to the United States. And he put it in a ship that would take about a month. And before the yam could get to US, they started germinating. So, I discovered that most of the yam coming from Ghana is air freighted. So we must be able to study the yam and know how quick we need to move them across. Yam today, I thought the governor was going to be here. I will try and be with him tomorrow. He needs to give us a commitment immediately. As soon as he gets back to Nigeria, the first set of yam must come from Niger State, and it must be well-labeled Niger yam. The same thing with the governor of Benue State. So my brother talked about rubber. Are you from Edo State, sir? Okay. Rubber is one of those trees because of the development of the technology of synthetic. In those days, rubber, most of the attires were made from rubbers. So, but today, if you go to Sapele, Aziz in Nigeria, that's where majority of the rubbers are being produced. People are still doing rubber. I mentioned it in my presentation, and I will make it available. But I don't think the quantity being produced now in Nigeria is enough. So there is need for us to plant more trees. And you realize that in those days, they will tell you that Dunlop and some of these other companies left Nigeria for Ghana, if you remember. So there's a need for us to do a regeneration of our cocoa, our rubber trees, so that we can make them marketable to the rest part of the world. Okay, so I thought Ambassador Bolaji, he's just here. I'm sure he will answer the question on chambers and of commerce, because he did a great work on that in some other places. For my friend and brother who wants to do irrigation, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, I can introduce you to them. Then I know quite a number of private organizations who want to go into irrigation facility. So after this meeting, I will meet with you to take your contact to be able to link you up to the right people. The reason we're here is that we're here with integrity to be able to deliver you to the right people. Because most times you want to go to Africa, you are afraid. But I tell you there are honest and good people in Africa that will be able to do business well with you. So I think those were the questions. Then, okay, you talk about dedicated fund. I think it's needed. We need to work with the Diaspora Commission on that. The Nigerian Restaurant Project, I have a paper on that. Then the Nigerian, the investment fund that you talk about.
All right. I believe there was one question about how the different organizations which the panelists represent interact with various municipal chambers of commerce. So the TCS does interact with various chambers of commerce. A few come to mind, especially those in the GTA, like the Brampton Chamber of Commerce, the Mississauga Board of Trade, the Markham Board of Trade, and particularly the Toronto Board of Trade. That's a big one. Well, maybe we cannot help these organizations directly. We definitely serve their members. Every single day we get inquiries from various clients from these local commerce organizations. So I interact with people from these organizations on a daily basis. And additionally, there are some chambers of commerce, particularly the Toronto Board of Trade, which runs some fantastic programs that we often do reference our clients to. Like, for example, in my presentation, I noted that we work on a serve and refer model. So if we can't necessarily serve a client at the moment, we will refer them to another organization. The Toronto Board of Trade being one. They run a fantastic program called the TAP program, which is the Trade Accelerator Program. So yes, to answer that question, we do interact with those organizations frequently. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will like to have a feedback on the education side with my background in education. So there was a question about the education, how Canadian institutions would be able to work with the Nigerian institutions. One way could be also to create a pathway programs, like where you could also have students study for 1 year in Nigeria and for 2 years they would come to Canada. We are adapting some, I'm from Seneca Polytechnic where I work, so we are developing international partnerships in different countries in Middle East, South Asia. Also we are expanding the outreach in Africa. There would be one way where students could study in 1 year in Nigeria and for the 2 years they could come to Canada. That way the students are well prepared, that they get the flavor and a connection from the Canadian education sector while they are being nurtured in Nigeria, and then the onboarding is also easy, as well as it subsidizes the cost as well. When we are developing these models, we look into the value propositions also, that how it would benefit the local partner, and also for students, parents, that they would have a seamless transition for their education abroad. There is another way by which the students could use the technology, as the previous speaker said. Because of the COVID, many Canadian institutions, universities, colleges, polytechnic, we agiled and we created the delivery, what we called as flex delivery, hybrid delivery. In those models, the students, when they are studying in the classroom, they also would be able to connect abroad as well. So even in the GTA, Ontario, Canada, the students, they don't have to come physically, but the experience they are going to get through the use of technology, like artificial intelligence, embedded cameras which are there in the classroom, the students have an immersive experience by these hybrid and high flex models. So that is another way while how we could collaborate and provide a cost-effective solution for education. Last, I will circle back of how we work with Chamber, because I represent the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce. So in Canada, we work with all three levels of government, the municipal, the provincial, and the federal. We work with the municipalities, different their international trade bodies within the municipalities, also at the province level with the province of Ontario, the Ministry of International Trade, and then at the federal level with TCS and other organizations in the federal level. As well as when we take our trade missions, we focus the trade mission to India to promote the investment opportunities for Canadian investors. We take them to different states, and we try to cover the northwest, east, south, different states in India, because it's a diverse country. We try to give them that experience. So both ways we act as a bridge. So we would be more like as a facilitator, and the same way what this opportunity with Nigeria brings today to us is for our members, the 1,000+ member we have in Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce, and exposure to the business opportunities in Nigeria.
First, I'm going to call for more knowledge about how Nigerian immigration works. You know, as a diplomat, particularly as head of mission, I've had a lot of complaints about people who want to come to Nigeria, but they find it difficult to get our visa. We thought our visa is quite easy. Of course, even if it's difficult, it can never be compared to that of Canada at all. You know, because you could be on Canada visa for 3 months, sometimes 6 months, 1 year, just for a visit visa. Okay? But Nigeria is not like that. So I'm going to call on Mrs. Beraji to come up now while we're fixing for the next speaker. The next speaker after Mrs. Beraji is going to be Paul Stevers. He's the founder and president of Integrated Climate Tech. Okay? And after that, I want to give 5 minutes to Gideofo Aheneko. Yeah, he did something beautiful yesterday on technology. So he's going to repeat that. All right? And after that, we'll have our own model, Honorable Abike Dabiri Rewa. Okay? So we'll have the 4 of them in that order. I see a lot of networking going on already. I'm just going to ask you to suspend that so that you can take this session. Okay? But if you want to quietly go get your meal, feel free. But you can bring the meal into the hall, because this is where the lunch will take place. So, great pleasure to welcome Mrs. Beraji. You're going to put your stuff on this, because, okay, you can do it as temporary. Perfect. Now, please, a round of applause for her.
Your Excellencies, all protocols duly observed. Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad to be here this afternoon. I bring you greetings from the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, person of Mrs. Kemi Nanananda. The Nigerian immigration is one of the best services that is being evolved even in this recent time under the watching of our minister, Mr. Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo. You can see that he's the best among the rest in terms of the ministers of this new dispensation. So, this morning, I want to say, distinguished guests, esteemed business leaders, and honorable participants, it's an honor to be here on behalf of the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service on this 3rd edition of CANIS 2024. Indeed, this is an opportunity to avail the world of the need for partnerships. As we all have shared interest in moving our economies forward, and also remind us of the critical roles played by foreign direct investment in trade facilitation, ease of business, and promoting sustainable economic growth. In today's globalized world, boundaries serve as links rather than barriers to economic growth, regional integration, and human development. Consequently, in order for these businesses to thrive, leading to economic expansion, it is imperative that certain regulatory requirements be made simpler while eliminating bureaucratic bottlenecks through the use of digital technologies in order to create an enabling environment for foreign direct investments. International direct investments and trade enabling environments can also be fostered through the knowledge of technology and access to new markets. Like I said earlier, consequently, in order for businesses to thrive, leading to economic expansion, it is imperative that certain...
Madam, tell us Nigeria visa.
Yes, sir. I'm coming to that.
That's
this
not
is a
your
message from my CGIS. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Put your message online. We want to hear the real stuff about the difficulty that people are confronting, the different categories of visa, and how you are making it fast.
Various categories of visas.
So go ahead.
Various categories of visas. The Nigerian Immigration Service is saddled with the responsibility of managing our borders in Nigeria. We have the various types of borders: the land, the sea, and the air border. Upon this, we have various ways of which we manage all this. And with the ease of doing business, the Nigerian Immigration Service devised means whereby people can come in conveniently. Even sitting in the comforts of their rooms, they can fill the forms applying for visas. And more so, you can also come in with a visa on arrivals at our entry points. So based on whatever capacity you are coming in, whether with so much money or with little money, we have the various types of visas. We have the ones that we call the subject to regularization visa. That's the STR visa, whereby you go to our embassies. That is, you are coming to work in Nigeria. When you are coming with the STR visa, you must get to our embassies and we'll check your certificates and make sure that you are quite competent for this. Whereby you are not competent, you'll be reviewed the visa. But when you are competent enough, you'll be given the visa, and we call it the STR visa. You're coming to work in the country. We have the other one that you are a visitor. You can come in, maybe you are visiting friends, you are coming as a tourist. We have all these types of visas, and you can get them at our points of entries, whereby things are so much easy for us now. You can apply online anywhere in the world and just put in why you are coming to the country, and then you'll be addressed and you'll be given the visa. And so we are so much innovative with the way things are now. In fact, of recent, we opened our technology building in Abuja, named after the president. And things are looking up because on time, real time, anywhere you are in the world, you can always apply, and then without you having any issue, because we must check whether your name is in the suspect index, whether you are a criminal or you have issues. We check all these things real time, on time, and where there are no issues, you'll be issued the visa. Talking about the passport. The passport is one area that we have involved of recent with the passport reforms. The passport reforms is such that now there is no more for you to apply through anybody. You don't have to know anyone. You don't have to know an immigration officer. And where we are going is such that you will get your passports within 3 weeks of applying for Nigerian passports. So anywhere you are in the world, you are just to fill your form, go to our website, fill the form, and show your interest on the type of passport that you want. We have the 5 years passport, we have the 10 years passport. And so in any one you are interested in, fill the form and then apply, and whereby everything is okay. That is all your documents. Number one, you must have your NIN. You must have your NIN correct. You must have your birth certificate. You must have your local government of identification, because we don't want to issue passports to outsiders. We don't want to issue passports to non-Nigerians. And so you must have all these together, and once the information is correct and we are satisfied, you'll be given an appointment to come to the passport office. When you have the appointment date, you can now come into the passport office, and then your biometrics will be taken, and then you will get your passport. Of recent, just last week, we started giving back passports. We started delivering passports to our homes. So Nigerian Immigration Service is evolving, and things are getting better per day. Also in the issue of migration, the issue of migration is such that people migrate from one point to another in the world. And with the issue of migration, we cannot rule out crime, even in this. We have the anti-smuggling of people. People want to smuggle fellow human beings, and there is human trafficking. The issue of human trafficking, smuggling of persons, this is very, very crucial to us, and is what the Nigerian immigration is trying to wage war about. For example, the smuggling of persons, you will all agree with me, that is the modern slave trade that we are battling, and is constituting lots of economic drainage, because people will recruit some of our people, and they want to collect money over them. And thereby they are subject to lots of things that you cannot even imagine. We have issues like organs harvesting, we have prostitution, we have all sorts of things that constitute a menace to the society. And so the Nigerian immigration is trying to wage war against all this. And in partnership with other nations and institutions like the IOM, the International Organization for Migration, the United Nations, all of them, they are helping us to wage war against this. And so we want to say that we want the Canadian-Nigerian relationship to come together to assist in whatever form to put an end to some of the menaces that we are having in our environment. Also, I want to say the visa on arrival is made available to encourage business owners who want to set up new businesses. This ensures that they do not need to pass through the rigors of going to the embassies and waiting for a long period before their visas are approved, which slows down business. There is also the need for the establishment of visa on arrival for tourism to create employment opportunities. Another thing is the industry promoting economic expansion. The implementation of visa on arrival will ensure the growth of tourism because it increases the number of visitors of any nation. Also, it is important to keep our borders open and secure due to its benefits for skilled and semi-skilled workers who might find employment opportunities under a variety of visa classifications. Professionals from all over the world are drawn to a country by the variety of visa categories available to them, while their knowledge and experience furthers the growth of the host country. And so Nigeria, similarly, the bilateral and multilateral relationship will tend to gain more as countries and as partners. The ties between our nations are not limited to trade alone. The human connections formed through this gathering, we create a deeper bond that strengthens business relations and opens doors to new markets, investments, and collaborations. We therefore urge you to partner and invest in the Nigerian economy. It's a giant of Africa, and you're sure that your businesses will yield needed dividend. Canada prides itself as having one of the most open and well-regulated immigration systems in the world. Through their immigration policies, we hope they can partner with Nigeria Immigration Service by providing the following: advanced technologies, exchange programs for the officers of the Nigeria Immigration, so that the Nigeria Immigration Service can compete with their counterparts all over the world. What are we saying? I came in 3 days ago and I saw what happened at the airport. You know, it's a contactless thing. You fill the form, whatever you say is the way you're treated. And there's no need talking to anybody. Whatever you fill in the form. So Nigeria, we want to get to that, such that the technologies will be there and then we'll advance just as the world is advancing. And so I bring us this message that the Nigeria Immigration Service will need our input as Nigerians in the diaspora to make sure that we take up certain projects. Even when you come into our country, you will see certain projects. For example, the Netherlands government, they are supporting Nigeria seriously in every area. And we want us to stand and be an institution to be proud of anywhere in the world. So when you come on, you wouldn't have, like, the MMIA is well developed now. If you come home, you will see the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. You see a lot of innovations. And as a Nigerian, you don't have the way we have it here, that they say EU passport this way, these others this way. That is the same thing that is applicable to us. For our investors, for people that are non-Nigerians, what we do about visa is what we call visa reciprocity. The visa reciprocity is the way you treat us, that is the way you'll be treated. So if you are collecting $200,000 concerning your visa, the same way we want to treat you even back in Nigeria. And so what is happening is world best practices concerning the Nigeria Immigration Service. And I hope with this, we want to see you coming to invest in Nigeria. For example, what I was talking about the other time, the STR visa, subject to regularization visa, is the one that after you have regularized, you'll be able to buy your what we call the SEPAC form. It is a form that will make sure that you have it and you can travel in and out of the country at will as much as you can. And then we have our Nigerians understudying this particular type of visa, whereby they can understudy and there will be successful transfer of technology. And so I want to say I'm grateful for this opportunity to the organizers, and I wish us all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Bewaji.
Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. Good afternoon to Your Excellencies, distinguished Senator Ume and Honorable Abike Dabiri. Thank you so much for joining us today. Yesterday, I presented on the topic, Driving Economic Growth Through Technology, Canada's Role in Nigeria's Digital Transformation. Just before I recap it, let me give you a little bit of a rundown on my bio. So my name is Jidofo Ahaneku, and I'm Nigerian, but I live in Canada. Before Canada, I had spent 5 years living in China, working in investment promotions, promoting technology investments from China to Africa, and also manufacturing sector investment. We've had successful projects in East Africa and in West Africa. Now moving to Canada, I've been also working with the companies in Canada in the tech sector, especially in the area of staffing. So my pitch yesterday was trying to provide information and share knowledge about what I've learned from living in diverse cultures and seeing how the global economy is moving and trending towards being more tech-based. I highlighted that Nigeria, at this point, has seen in a short time, between 2015 till date, $4 billion in terms of foreign direct investment into the technology sector. When you look at that compared to our traditional sectors where we've been earning from, you see that the potential for technology is great. Good enough, the federal government and stakeholders are also making more programs to help Nigerians improve their digital skills up to the extent where we can begin to export digital skills. Now, what is my debate on? Since we're already doing so well or trying to do well in technology, now Canada is an untouched or is an uncovered gem. From my work in technology in Canada, you'll be surprised at how Canada compares to Silicon Valley. Yesterday, I had on the screen a slide which was showing you what we have in Canada here called the Kanata Technology Park. It's located in Ottawa, where I live. And blow for blow, Kanata compares to Silicon Valley. And there's just a little, even in terms of technology density, which is how close these technology companies and ICT workers are. Kanata has more of this than Silicon Valley. So the message I have for us today, first of all, on our side, we are working on different technology applications and solutions to help Nigeria. Some of them are in the technology field for the mining industry. Some are in the technology field for information, trying to make sure that there's a good flow of information, especially when you think about it. We are talking about foreign direct investments and attraction of foreign direct investments. With artificial intelligence now, there's a lot that we can do to use AI tools and technology to symmetrize and make more information available. Even before investors step their foot in Nigeria, they can really see all of this. So my pitch to you is Canada is a great place for technology. There's going to be more that's going to come out of Canada in terms of technology, and Nigeria should take advantage of this, and Canada should take advantage. It's going to be to the best interest of the both countries. And we are here, Jidofa Haneku from Go Buy Hub, to support you with your technology transformation between Nigeria and Canada. Thank you so much.
The issue of fraud and scamming and the lack of transparency in the real estate markets in Africa, which has constrained the market, which is already a booming market, but one in which should actually be growing much, much bigger. And really, with us and with EcoBank as well, we believe that one of the customers that has been dissatisfied with the process today in Nigeria in particular has been the Nigerian diaspora. And so for us today, on our platform, you can find us at www.ceso.global. You can already find 10,000 vetted property units. These are properties that we have vetted in terms of checking company registration documents, land title documentation. These are typically developments from that we get from real estate developers in these countries, and so we target real estate developers because it's much easier to vet them than it is an individual homeowner. We also work with various law firms, very esteemed law firms, and property management companies as well in country to assist you with that process of vetting the property, and for those that want to potentially have their properties managed, this is something as well we can assist with. And of course with the banks. And for CESO, this has always been one of our chief and main targets in terms of partnerships, the banks. Today, mortgage penetration in the market is less than 1% of GDP. And you think about markets like the United States, where it's typically hovering around 50% and has even gone up to 70% of GDP. This number is very much lacking. I was very happy to hear from the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, about working towards improving the housing sector for the diaspora, as we believe that actually the diaspora is going to be the kickoff for the mortgage market locally in Nigeria. Just a little bit on our platform today and what we've built out. So the marketplace is the easiest to understand. It's a marketplace where you can go there, you can find properties in Lagos, within Lekki, VI, all the various suburbs within that region. You can also find properties in Abuja. We are working on expanding our offering, but you will find many, many different types of units, townhouses, service land, condominium-style units, etc. on our platform. You will also find fully built, and typically what the developers offer is off-plan, which is new construction, for which you can potentially get a good deal before it's fully built. And then some of the other solutions which are living underneath the main exterior is our CRM platform, which is utilized by real estate developers, agents, and even our own team to manage the process and the client flow, managing the client from A to Z through the journey. Our land registry portal, which is actually being utilized today in Sierra Leone. We hope to utilize it in Nigeria as well very soon. We're working on engaging the various stakeholders to do this. But this is a platform that was initially launched in South Africa. It's a blockchain-based land registry solution. And in Sierra Leone, we are utilizing it in collaboration with the city of Bo in Sierra Leone as a property taxation management tool as well. Right, and in Sierra Leone, we hope to expand it across the country. Already, the president of Sierra Leone is aware of the project, and we are working towards launching this at the beginning of next year. And then the mortgage platform, which again I'm very excited to speak on here. We have already been working with numerous banks, especially in Ghana, where diaspora mortgages have been more prevalent, but certainly. We've been working with EcoBank in particular, and for those that are not aware, EcoBank is one of the largest banks on the continent. It's in 33 different countries in Africa, and we've been working with them extensively with the Ghanaian and Nigerian teams over the past 2 years to ensure that this platform is legally and regulatorily compliant, to ensure that it's compliant both in Nigeria and also in the various jurisdictions like Canada as well, Canada, United States, and the United Kingdom specifically. So just a little bit on this partnership, and for those that want more details, feel free to reach out to me after this. But as I mentioned, this is a partnership with EcoBank Group. We have actually launched a pilot version of this already in Liberia. We were happy to have the foreign minister of Liberia during our launch event. We've already processed mortgages for various Liberians who are looking to purchase property back in Liberia. And this was done about 2 months or so ago. And the idea is to, of course, launch this at the end of this month or certainly at the beginning of next month in Ghana and in Liberia as well. Don't hold me to this, but these are the general terms of the mortgage. As we launch it, you will see the real numbers. But based on my discussions with the bank, it will be looking at a 15-year mortgage. That's 5 years. This is certainly more than you typically find in the market, and also at about 11 to 12% in annual interest rate. I know that's quite high compared to what's here in Canada. But I think one thing to look at is that, in the past, the rates have been around 30%, right? And so what we are doing is a drastic decrease of the interest rates. And the idea is that hopefully we bring more competition into the market and reduce these rates. And obviously, as we process more mortgages, I think this will also help reduce the rates. It's also important to understand that the properties on here, on this platform, will also be vetted and verified by EcoBank and CESO Global. And what that means is that there will be a stringent process for anyone that wants to list on this site to ensure that the properties on there are of high caliber. We ensure that we've checked the legitimacy of title, which is probably one of the more important things, but also even with a real estate developer to ensure that they have the liquidity to complete a project, etc. It's a 30% down payment, which will be standardized across as well. And as I mentioned, this will be done with group, and so we are standardizing this product across the board, across Africa. We've launched in Liberia. We will be launching in Ghana, Nigeria as the next, and then we're hoping to launch in 10 other countries from there. And so I guess just a little bit more on the product. As I mentioned, vetted properties, that is a very key aspect here that we will be dealing with, right? That is one of the big issues. Are you dealing with a legitimate developer? Are you dealing with a legitimate real estate agent? Is the property legitimate? These are very important questions that our clients ask. And, those sitting here in the diaspora want to purchase property, but they do not want to deal with the headache. And that's why this solution with EcoBank, I think, helps reduce those instances of fraud, or dare I say, removes it completely. Right? The process will also be a digital application, and so through this portal, you'll be asked to create an account and input the necessary information through the portal that is required by the bank, and then from there, you will actually be processed in country. And so it's a similar process to what you would do in Canada to get a mortgage here in Canada. It's the same process that you will be utilizing to purchase property back in Nigeria. I want to add as well legal and regulatory compliance, very important for me. I think I've become myself a lawyer, an accountant, sort of a compliance scholar as well, just doing this with EcoBank over the last 2 to 3 years. This is something where we had their lawyers and our lawyers comb through this process to ensure that it meets all regulatory standards within the countries in which we're operating in. And I just say easy to use, right? Of course, once we launch this, I want everybody here to try to utilize it, go through it, let us know what works, what doesn't. In essence, what we want is for clients to be able easily to find properties on there. Once you find the property, apply for the particular mortgage, and then we will assess it and approve it from EcoBank's end and disperse it, right? We want the process to be as simple as that. It is important to note that CESO does have agents on the ground and consultants who will guide you through the process as well. We understand real estate is not a fully digital process, but we do want to ensure that a lot of the processes that we can digitize, we do that, right, as well. And so I'll just turn it a little bit towards the opportunity, right? So CESO has always saw the diaspora as the key client for real estate. Already, right, $20 billion flows into Nigeria, flew into Nigeria in 2030. The highest has been $24 billion, which occurred in 2018, 2019. And we see these numbers actually growing astronomically with this product. Studies have already shown that roughly 40% of funds that are sent to Nigeria are utilized for some sort of real estate, right, purpose, whether it's buying land, building up your home, buying a property yourself. This is already occurring within the market. We want to be able to obviously have those monies flow through us in a much more efficient and compliant manner, and also to ensure that the customer is able to purchase more. Your dollar reaches more because of this mortgage, where you can now spread the payments over 15 years, as opposed to typically payment plans that are done by real estate developers today, typically are hover around 2 years or so. And so not just CESO, but EcoBank itself did the assessment and understand that this is a massive opportunity for them and want to reach out to the diaspora here. And so for those that obviously within that space, very happy to work with you all to ensure that this is successful on all ends. Just a few other sort of talking points as well for those who want to maybe better understand the opportunity in itself, right? By 2100, Africa will be home to 40% of the world population, about 3.9 billion people. A huge population growth which is expected along this 600-mile stretch, right? And I like to point out this stretch of beach land especially, which I think is one of the biggest opportunities in the world, right? You'll find that West Africa really has never really been a tourist destination. You know, North in Africa, East Africa, South Africa have all had their tourist sectors booming over the last few years, but that's not been the case for West Africa. Until very recently, Ghana, which is the country I'm from, has done a very good job in terms of the year of return in bringing in an influx of tourists into the country. But you know, it's very interesting, and I always point to it's not a real study, but just a YouTube video asking young Black Americans which African countries they knew. The only two countries they could mention were Ghana and Nigeria, and so that tells you the soft power that these two countries hold now. And I think because of that, I like the lady from immigration who talked about visa on arrival. I think these are very, very important. And I mentioned all to say that this stretch of land is underdeveloped, right? And beachfront will always be prime real estate. And I think that's one where, you know, anyone within that sector should look at. And also, of course, individual home buyers and investors potentially could look at as well as we build out this mortgage product. And so again, some numbers around population growth as well in urbanization, which as you can see are ticking up quite a bit in Lagos and even obviously around Lagos as well. Lagos in itself is a global city today and should be viewed as such, right? And so in that sense, that is one of the reasons why it's very important and imperative for the diaspora to be a part of that story as it grows and develops, right? The city is very well known now, obviously through the Nigerian music and cinema. This is going to grow astronomically as well. And we're also seeing as well some of the key infrastructure developments that are driving this as well, right? So I just put some of them here in terms of the mass rail, the mainline bridge, of course, the Dangote refinery, and the Lekki International Airport. These are infrastructure projects that are going to transform Lagos in itself. And so there's a massive opportunity here to be a part of this story, as well as an investor and a partner and potentially also a developer, a real estate developer within these projects. So I'll stop here. Again, very, very happy to be here. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much. You have certainly used your 20 minutes very effectively. Thank you so much. And we will have questions for you later. So now we are calling on Paul Stevers. We've been waiting for his own input since, but I think all the issues are sorted out now. Or soon.
So for the last 3 months, I've been working with a group of Nigerians, and we put together an organization called the Alliance for Food Security Action in Africa. And we've hosted an event in New York City on the side of the United Nations General Assembly. We did that last month. And now we're planning on another event in New York City, and it's going to be in partnership with the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. And so then once that happens, then we're going to be getting geared up to go to COP29 to talk about and meet with major funders for food security, because there's a lot of concern about that. And you'll see when in this video we'll be talking about there's $60-70 billion committed right now by different organizations, okay, on food security. So this short video was prepared especially for this event, and it allows me to really compress the information, and then we can talk after this video.
This presentation will briefly outline an opportunity for substantially increasing funding for food security